Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We're excited to introduce to you Visita, a collaborative trip management app designed to simplify the way we travel together. Before we jump into the details of Visita, I want to introduce the team behind the work. I'm Fatima Abu-Omarah, and with me is Nupur and Erika Delfino. Together, we collaborated closely on every phase of Visita, from the initial research to the final prototype, each bringing a unique perspective to make this product both functional and user-friendly. On our agenda for this evening, we will go over our background and objectives, followed by our user research. We will also dive into our conceptual and detailed design, followed by our evaluation and conclusion. So, to begin, group travel sounds very fun, but planning it is not so much. Through our research, we found that people often feel overwhelmed trying to organize schedules, budgets, and ideas across multiple tools. One participant even said, planning with so many ideas can get difficult. That's what inspired Visita, a platform designed to make group travel simple, organized, and collaborative. Our guiding question became, how can we reduce the stress of group trip planning while enhancing the overall experience? Our project objectives include making trip planning easier and more enjoyable, especially for groups. We focus on three main objectives: make group travel smoother, centralize everything into one organized hub, and use AI to personalize recommendations. Each of these objectives help guide us in our design decisions throughout the project. Our project spanned from September 2024 to April 2025, following a structured human-centered design process. We began with a proposal, then conducted in-depth user research to guide our decisions. Next came the conceptual design, where we brainstormed and visualized early ideas. We then moved into our detailed design, building a high-fidelity prototype with real interactions. And finally, we ran multiple evaluations to test and refine our design, leading us to our final solution. Each phase helped bring Visita closer to becoming a well-rounded, user-centered app. To begin, we began with our research. We conducted a comprehensive benchmark analysis of 10 travel-related apps. Using SWOT analysis and user review audits, we identified key strengths, weaknesses, and user preferences. We then categorized recurring themes to uncover what existing platforms do well, such as itinerary management and collaboration, and where they fall short, particularly in real-time group planning and visual engagement. In addition to our benchmarking, we conducted a literature review of 16 academic papers to deepen our understanding of travel behavior and planning dynamics. We synthesized these findings through affinity mapping, which helped us identify key themes like the need for better group coordination, personalization, and real-time communication tools. After our literature review, we conducted a survey with 47 participants ranging in age from 18 to 60. The goal was to better understand user travel's styles, their biggest planning challenges, and what features they value most in a group travel app. Key insights from this include a strong demand for collaborative itinerary planning, expense tracking, and group polling features. Users also emphasize the importance of safety, cost management, and access to local services. After our survey, we conducted one-on-one interviews and focus group sessions to dive deeper into individual and group travel behaviors. In the interviews, we learned how solo travelers prioritize things like safety, local experience, and offline access. In our focus groups with families, friends, and couples, we explored how group dynamics impact planning. For example, families face dietary constraints where friends focus on expense splitting and couples plan with more flexibility. This next slide captures the key insights that emerge across all of our research methods, benchmarking, surveys, interviews, and focus groups. We found that social media strongly influences travel decisions, especially for restaurants and activities, and budget management was a recurring challenge with many users juggling multiple tools. This shows that there's a clear need for a one-stop hub to simplify and centralize planning. We also saw demand for collaborative tools that support real-time itinerary changes and offline features for when connectivity is unreliable. Lastly, cultural integration stood out. Many international travelers research custom norms and expectations before arriving. These findings shapes the foundation of our app's core features and experiences. From our research findings, we created detailed user personas and scenarios to help us design with real users in mind. Each persona reflects a unique type of traveler. Sarah, a parent managing multi-generational family trips. Marcus, a tech-savvy friend trying to balance planning and convenience. And Nina, a solo traveler who prioritizes safety, culture, and convenience. We then developed a scenario around Nina, who wants one app to handle everything, from booking to planning to discovering safe local experiences. These personas guided our design decisions to make sure Visita supports different travel needs, behaviors, and frustrations. Lastly, we created a user journey map to visualize key actions, pain points, and emotional highs and lows across the trip planning experience. It revealed major challenges like fragmented planning, booking complexities, and post-trip expense management, and helped us pinpoint where Visita could offer the most valuable. So now Erika will take over the conceptual design.
Hello, everyone. So we started first with the idea book, a ideation process where we started with brainstorming ideas, then sorting them, rating them, and filtering them, and then finally concluding all the ideas into our final, the ones we wanted to go forward with, and sketches. For the idea rating criteria, we use feasibility, likability, and uniqueness as the main criteria in the way we went about deciding which were the final ideas we wanted to go through. So for the top 10 ideas that we condensed, the first one was AI for custom recommendations. The second one was group communication and collaboration. The third one was expense tracking and categorizing. Live destination intel, basically telling you how the location is at the time of your travel. Document center dealing with flight tracking, hotel bookings, car reservations, and travel documentation. The sixth one being with solo and group calendars, seeing both your own individual calendar and your other group mates. Then the seventh one was an AI assistant to ask questions about your own itinerary and potential places you would be traveling to. The eighth ones would be local food and restaurant recommendations based on the dietary restrictions of everybody in the group. Then we had a cultural etiquette guide. We saw that many wanted to know about the customs and basic cultural etiquette in certain countries. And finally, the transportation information and recommendation, basically incorporating some sort of way of handling the transportation needed from one activity to another when you're traveling. Then we went ahead with these ideas and we created an information architecture. We developed this in order to outline Visita's core navigation and user flow. This framework supported innovative trip planning, group coordination, and logistical management. We basically did this to sort of find our key features for the app. So we found that chat, the real-time group messaging for collaboration was needed, then expense, which dealt with budget tracking and cost splitting, then itinerary, basically having like a timeline of your organization of your trip, and then profile, just keeping all your user settings, trip history, and personal expense tracking. This is just a simple snippet of our information architecture, but for the itinerary example, we went into detail and we broke each interaction into deep user flows. So for this one specifically, we start with the Visita app, then we go into our trips screen, which you can see like all the little trips that you would be going to. If you tap on a trip, then you would see the itinerary, which you would see each day. And then if you tap in a day, then you would see each activity within that day. So we did this with all of the main features of the app in order for us to understand the flow that we wanted to create. Then we have sketch one and sketch round one and sketch round two. So for the first round, we took those finalist ideas, we sketched them out. We came together to analyze what we would like to see going forward and what we didn't. And after revising those sketches, we ended up with the sketch round two, which is basically more refined and cleaned up ideas that we had from round one. Then we have the digital wireframe. So based on the sketches, we created these wireframes to sort of narrow down what we wanted our basic sections and layout to be, and for us to further understand what information was needed for each specific feature. Then we have our storyboard of a futuristic idea, which I will play.
The Dunphy family's vacation. Meet the Dunphy family, Claire, Phil, and their 3 kids, Haley, Alex, and Luke, huddled around their iPad on a cold December evening and exploring the Visita app's interactive 3D globe interface. Haley spins the globe with her finger, while Luke giggles as the continents whirl by. The globe stops spinning on Orlando, Florida. Instantly, the AI-powered rating system displays destination cards showing kid-friendly icons and color-coded family friendliness scores based on safety, amenities, and activities. Alex clicks the randomized travel plan button for Orlando. The app asks for their travel duration and budget, then generates a randomized itinerary and suggests hotels and deals. The randomized itinerary shows: Day 1, a hidden gem water park instead of the expected Disney World. Day 2, a local wildlife sanctuary with hands-on animal encounters. Day 3, a kid-friendly cooking class making Mickey-shaped treats, plus a surprise activity to be revealed later. Day 4, an indoor skydiving experience and glow-in-the-dark mini-golf. Day 5, a behind-the-scenes tour at a major theme park. After reaching the travel destination, Haley realizes she forgot her swimming goggles and Alex needs more sunscreen. Claire opens the app's drone delivery feature. Within 30 minutes, a drone quietly delivers their package to the resort balcony, just in time for tomorrow's adventure.
Oh, that was muted. And with that was one of our storyboards. We only showed this one, but we have 3 more, which you can check out later. And then we have our brand guideline and design principles. So these were our main guidelines that we chose throughout the app. The primary color was Tufts Blue, and then we have other accent colors that we use throughout the app to show different activities, members of your trip, and etc. For the design principles, we had learnability, visibility of system status, match between the system and the real world, use of knowledge in the world and in the head, flexibility, robustness, recognition rather than recall, and aesthetic and minimal design. So these were our core principles that we went through in order to create our Visita app and that we stuck with in order to create a seamless and minimalistic application. Then for our detailed design, we went through many iterations similar to our sketch round 1 and sketch round 2. We did the same, but with our prototyping and our initial iterations. So you can see the budget. We had our initial one, and then after our own internal feedback, what we would want that to look like. And we went through these in many aspects of our app. The home and the chat screens advanced from low fidelity wireframes to quite detailed mid-fidelity prototype, specifically introducing content organization, interactive elements, and improving information hierarchy, and simply just establishing a stronger foundation for subsequent high-fidelity prototyping in the future. And same with the budget and trip overview. We went from mid-fidelity to high-fidelity, emphasizing hierarchy and readability, and enhancing our visual layouts, contextual groupings for trip travel details, and also just being more task oriented. Then for a high-fidelity prototype, we have our main features. So for the home, we have the basic layout with the comprehensive trip planning. And inside of the trips, we can find the cultural etiquette. It's that little yellow square. And then we have personalized recommendations using AI, which you will see later. Then we have the other section which was chats and profiles. For the chats, we were able to see group communication and collaboration, the AI chat integration, the solo calendar and group calendar, and then within the profile, you have your travel style features. And then we have another storyboard of our feasible ideas, and I will play that now.
Meet the Park family. They're planning a family vacation with extended family. But with kids and grandparents, finding activities that are fun for everyone has been tricky. With Visita, creating a family trip is as easy as a few taps. Visita makes sure every trip is tailored to your needs. The parks choose family-friendly preferences, so activities and meals are perfect for kids and adults alike. With Visita's budgeting feature, the park family can set a budget and track their spending, ensuring they stay on track without surprises. The parks easily plan their trip by voting on kid-friendly activities. No more debating over where to go or what to do, everyone gets a say. From start to finish, Visita makes it easy to plan, budget, and share the load. The park family can focus on the fun, knowing everything's handled. Visita. Creating memories the family way.
Okay, and with that, we can go to a more futuristic idea.
Meet the Salas. They are a young couple planning their honeymoon. But with the fear of a language barrier and traveling during the wet season, they are nervous to plan their trip. With Visita, planning a honeymoon trip is as easy as a few taps, tailoring everything to your needs. Visita allows for trip-enhancing wearable AR and VR devices. The Salés choose a watch and glasses, ensuring they maximize the adventure on their trip. Visita's in-app recommendations allow them to plan an outdoor adventure compatible with their devices. In the case that it rains, they can easily tailor their perfect weather, alleviating any stress or worry. Their AR glasses automatically translate menus, road signs, and speech to English, making communication easy. While exploring ancient ruins, their glasses transport them back in time, restoring each site to its full glory and bringing history to life. From start to finish, Visita makes trip planning a breeze. With its compatible wearable technology, the possibilities are endless. The Salers can focus on their honeymoon knowing everything is handled. Visita, creating memories that last a lifetime.
And with that, it's just a different way in which a more futuristic idea like the wearables can be used with our application. And with that, I'll be handing it off to Nupur for the evaluation and redesign.
Thank you. So for the evaluation, our objective was to assess the usability and performance of our prototype, for which we used a dual approach, where we used both qualitative and quantitative methodologies, and that gave us rich insight into user experiences as well as standardized metrics. The testing methods that we used were think aloud testing and heuristic evaluation by UX experts for the qualitative data, and our quantitative data was drawn from single-ease question ratings, system usability scale score, and severity ratings for usability issues, which set the benchmark for future testing and to track improvements. Moving on. So the goal for Think Aloud testing was to evaluate how users interact with the app, and not just to see what they do, but also to understand why they do it. Following each task, we had the single-ease question, which measured the perceived difficulty, and following the entire test, we had the system usability scale questionnaire, which measured the perceived usability of the app. Our primary goal was to identify issues, measure user satisfaction, and pinpoint areas for improvement. We had 8 participants with diverse demographics. The age group was 23 to 53, and we had 4 males and 4 female participants, all from USA. All of these participants completed 5 tasks using our prototype. The first one was to log in, check the trip itinerary, and see what's next in the itinerary. The next one was to check their group chat, vote on an ongoing poll, and create a new poll. The third one was to split expenses with their co-travelers. The fourth one was to check their budget overview and details of a past trip. And the last one was to plan a trip from scratch. So here we have a small video from the Think Aloud testing.
Bike tour, shopping for souvenirs. Yeah, this is pretty detailed. This makes my life way easier. I don't know if I can also put map, like Google location thing over there. That would be nice to have, because then again I don't have to. I can just click on the Google Map icon and then it would show me the direction.
Right.
Yeah.
We also extracted quotes from our video recordings, which paved the way for future improvements. You can see the quotes on the right. Some are negative and some are positive. So you
Human forum.
the affinity mapping helped us organize all the qualitative feedback into actionable categories, which became our focus areas for future improvements. The challenges we identified were primarily related to terminology, visibility, navigation, consistency, and a need for user onboarding as it is a new app. The SAQ ratings for each of the tasks are mentioned below, and our SUS score for the first round of usability testing was 87.81, which was already way above the industry standard. But obviously, we had a lot of improvements moving forward, which we will see on the next slide. So our findings showed that we needed to improve the UI readability and consistency with top fixes, including increasing font size and standardizing button placements. Secondly, we also had to improve the terminologies and information architecture, specifically related to the budget tab, where the confusing terms like group split had to be renamed, and the bar charts and graphs had to be made clickable as that was more intuitive. Thirdly, we had to fix a few navigation and flows. With respect to collaboration, we had to make the poll creation more accessible and show poll deadlines in the chat. And lastly, with trip planning and recommendations, we had to streamline the process of planning a trip from scratch and break it down into smaller sections to be more intuitive. For the heuristic evaluation, our app was evaluated by 4 UX experts for these 5 heuristics. The first one being visibility of system status. We got a severity rating of 3 for this one, and the feedback included fixing action and visual inconsistencies. As you can see in the code, that button link stylings and words are not consistent. The second one, we received a feedback for refining labels and interactions. With respect to consistency and standards, we had to standardize icons and entry fields for recognition rather than recall. We had to place prompt cues for optimal user interaction. And lastly, for aesthetic and minimalistic design, we had to improve our design hierarchy. The overall findings showed that our strengths lied in robust features, modern and minimal interface, a good mobile standard for trip planning app, and a unique all-in-one experience. And areas for improvement, as we just discussed, were system feedback, navigation issues, white space, touch targets, and inconsistencies. Moving on. So coming to the prototype redesign, we redesigned the home screen based on participant feedback on wanting a tutorial. The video shows our new redesigned app with the tutorial for onboarding. We also added a small help sign where the tutorial can be accessed anytime, and we increased the accessibility by increasing text size and making it more legible. Moving on. For the trip overview screen, both the participants and the UX experts suggested that the screen was too crowded and the icons were missing labeling. So we labeled all the icons, increased text size, and added more white space to attempt a more minimalistic style. With respect to planning a new trip process, the process was confusing as there were so many areas to focus on. So to narrow it down and make it more consumable, we divided it into smaller processes and so that the users can plan this trip step by step. With respect to the split expense screen, users expressed that the group split terminology was confusing to understand, so we renamed it to split expense. We added a feedback when a transaction was requested, and we also added a button to add personal expense in the flow. Lastly, with chat and polling, there was an issue with readability of the conversations, and there was an issue with the top-down flow being hindered by the send button being placed at a different location. So we redesigned it to match the user feedback. We improved the input fields, we changed the button placements, and we increased the font size. That led us to usability round 2. Here we again conducted think aloud testing to evaluate our redesigned prototype and find any new or remaining challenges. and the users completed the same set of tasks. This time we had 6 participants. Again, the Think Aloud mapping revealed challenges related to navigation, info architecture, the newly designed onboarding, and ad expense, and so on. This time, our system usability score was 92.8, which was higher than the previous one. And moving on, we can compare all the quantitative data here. We can see that the scores increased for most of the tasks, but decreased for a few ones where new buttons were added and were confusing for old and new participants equally. The moderator rating significantly increased, especially for task 5, and the system usability score increased from 87.81 to 92.08, which shows that our app improved considerably after the redesign. The key findings from the second round were that users liked that they had the weather and itinerary information. They liked that they could easily track their daily spending and see the previous polls. They loved the navigation and thought that the app was straightforward. And future improvements included making the help button more visible, having maps and locations more prominent, allowing access to individual to chat from individual trip pages, and so on. Moving on, I'll hand it over to Fatima for the conclusion.
So as you can see with the video here, the final iteration includes a comprehensive login screen. Upon your first login, there's an onboarding tour on the homepage. There are also widgets and recommendations. In our trip tab, you could see all your trips and itinerary details, calendars, and create a new trip. In our chat tab, you can see trip-specific chats, polls, and calendars to ensure communication is streamlined. And lastly, in our budgeting tab, it includes an in-depth breakdown of trip costs, expense overviews. You can also upload your payments methods and split expenses. You can also scan the QR code here to go over the prototype. And onto our limitations. So our study faced limitations such as a small sample size, time constraints, and mobile-only testing. Inconsistent feedback also posed challenges. Future work should expand accessibility, support cross-platform use, and explore AI, offline features, and group collaboration enhancements. Ultimately, our process highlighted, if you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so ultimately, our process highlighted the value of iterative testing, inclusive design, and structured data synthesis. Cross-disciplinary collaboration was essential, supported by AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Figma, and Perplexity for research and ideation. And now, we would like to thank you for your time and interest. We truly appreciate the opportunity to share Visita with you, and a special thank you to our advisor, Dr. Kim, for his constant guidance, insight, and support throughout this journey. And we now welcome any questions, feedback, or thoughts you'd like to share.